Hey there, I'm Dr. Emily Elzer-Twesney from Bright Business Consulting. We talked a lot this month about student interns and like skills specifically that they need to learn, but sometimes as a manager, you also need some information to help survive the experience in a way that maybe isn't apparent right when you first start the internship because everybody's super excited and like learning all the new things. But then once you get past that and like into the groove kind of and like, okay, now we actually have to like get the work done. Some things might pop up that you didn't see at the beginning. And one thing that a lot of people that I talk to who work with Gen Z students, so that would be like anybody who's 24 or 25 years old and younger, is that sometimes that group seems to like not really quite know how to take initiative and not know how to like jump in and get going with something. Some of that's age, certainly, but some of it I think is in large part due to like how they learned. And hold on one second, you'll have to stick with me on this because I'm gonna go like into the weeds here a bit. But I think it's important, like this is a very important venture into the weeds and might really help you um, understand some of the behavior from your interns. So this group of people, the young professionals that are coming through school right now and who are just graduating, are products of No Child Left Behind, which is a way that they learned through all through their time in elementary and middle and high school. And so in this case, a lot of times what happened was um, schools and teachers got like specific learning objectives that the students needed to learn. And so they were told what the learning objectives were. They read and watched videos and learned about content that was directly tied to those objectives. And then they were given assignments that were clearly tied to these objectives. And then also they were graded with a rubric that the rubric had those same learning objectives that were in the assignment, that were in the content, and that were given to them at the very beginning. And so, especially with college students, they're sort of used to like seeing these like, okay, point A connects to point B, connects to point C. I turn in my assignment and it's done. And that's not to say that they don't have to think because they do have to think like that. I'm not trying to say that at all. But what I am saying is that they're very used to things being written out and sort of like a very linear progression of how things go, and then they sort of like do the assignment and they're rewarded with the best grades by being able to sort of like hit all of those objectives that they were giving at the beginning. This is a, I think we won't talk about whether it's a great way to learn or not because I think there's pluses and minuses, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point here though is that they're very used to this like progression, right? And we all know that in work, like very rarely do you get that same kind of progression. And sometimes you may be working from point A to point B, but before you can get to point C, the project gets hijacked by some other project that has to, you put that on hold, and then you have to pick up this other project at point D, and then later that afternoon you have to go back to project B. It sounds confusing when I say it that way, but as somebody who's working, like you get that. You get that you have to juggle things. But if you've never experienced that before and you're coming into the workplace, that can be like very challenging. And you might find that your intern might seem like they're not motivated, like they don't want to do anything, but that's probably not it at all. They're probably just afraid to engage because they don't want to mess up and they don't want to screw up. Because also, this group of people is used to like high competition situations where if they didn't have everything completely in a row, they maybe like lost their one chance to succeed. And we all know in business that that is not it at all. Like, I don't know about you, but I regularly mess up probably at least once a week, if not once a day or more. So we're used to that. Then we also recognize that like that sometimes that failure or that like things didn't work the way that we expected can either tell you that you need to change course or it might be better than what you expected, even though it's something completely different. Um, But as an intern, you don't know that if you haven't had that experience and haven't been given the opportunity to just like mess up and see what happens. So I would encourage you to like if you're at that point with one of your interns, like having a conversation about it and letting them know that it's okay to try and it's okay to mess up, or it's okay to like not do everything in a linear fashion. At the same time, as a manager, you might also find yourself that you need to like write things down. And if you haven't written things down, like the step by step of what you're expecting things to have done, your expectations, or like this is how we do a specific job or a specific process of tasks, you might want to consider doing that because these student interns are also used to like having those kinds of resources and those kinds of like written materials that they can go back to. And so that might also help your working relationship as well. I hope this has been helpful for you. And if you're looking for more information, we have a manager survival guide that's a part of our Bright Manager Circle. And hang on with me here. The Bright Manager Circle is this archive of content. So I've got videos based on all sorts of topics. One of them, one section specifically, is about how to survive being a manager of interns. And so if you want to click on the link below, there's a place that you can check this out free for a week to see if this content is valuable for you. So there's not only, again, that content about how to manage interns specifically, but some other pieces of information that might help you as well, like how to work through conflict with an employee, how to lead a meeting using an agenda, how to set expectations, which can be really difficult, or set some boundaries, especially if you haven't done that in the past. It's all there, and it's a lot of information to check out. The benefit also is that twice a month we have a 30-minute webinar that you can hop on, listen to some content, ask a question if you want, or you can just sit and eat your lunch while it's happening. But you also get to be a part of this community along with it. The benefit of this, though, for you is that when you have challenges, when things come up, you don't have to like Google to try to find a solution and try to figure out if you can trust the advice that you're getting. You're getting all of that information in one spot, which I think is pretty awesome. I wish that I had that when I was a manager myself. All right, holler if you have questions, but remember that like times are real, real weird and it's okay. You're going to be okay. Remember to take a deep breath, be kind to yourself and others, and we'll get through this. Keep rocking, and I look forward to connecting with you here soon.